Hello. Today, I am wearing a Star Wars shirt for a Star Trek review. I'm gonna jump right in, right off the bat. I'm gonna say, this movie blew my expectations out of the water. I love the first two movies. I expect this movie not to hold a candle to the first two movies. This one is now by far my favorite of this new Star Trek trilogy. It is amazing. And I want to say, I do love Star Trek. So you got this reaction figure of William Shatner, Captain Kirk, so that's cool. Anyway, during this movie, I found myself constantly smiling ear to ear because I was enjoying it so much. I had to go to the bathroom for the last almost hour of this movie, and I refused to stand up because I was so enthralled. I didn't even take notes during the movie. I refused to do anything but watch the movie. I don't even know how to explain it. This movie is awesome. Not to mention, it's super retro. I mean, the whole thing feels like original Star Trek series. And with this movie being retro, I think it's a kind of gutsy move to make something that feels like it was released years ago in the 60s, 70s, today, and I really like that. Like, another movie that was like that, The Man from U.N.C.L.E., which is a super old-fashioned spy movie that I also happen to love. I just admire anyone that will make something that feels old, even though it's new. And one of my biggest gripes, and probably my only one, about the other two Star Trek movies in the new J.J. Abrams era, is everything feels super polished. Nothing feels used. In this one, everything gets dirty, it can get old, it gets beat up, and I think that makes it a better visual experience than the first two. And I have to commend them on that. The whole movie is chock full of energy. I mean, it never stops moving. The only time you feel like, okay, so maybe speed up a little bit is maybe the first 10 minutes, but it's kind of like the calm before the storm. You're like, okay, the characters are getting set up, here we go, and everything just goes crazy after an attack on the Enterprise happens. And everything in the story changes, and it just gets really, really fun. There's never a dull moment after that. You're completely into the movie. The characters are fantastic. The main two, I'd say, are Kirk and Spock, and they both have really interesting dilemmas that you kind of wonder about. You're like, okay, how is this going to play out? Because you're not sure, because it really could go either way. Not to mention, the dynamics between characters are really interesting. They're not just, okay, we're crew members, let's go. No, all the characters have really weird interactions with each other. Not to mention, there's a bunch of new characters, like J-Lo. But my favorite of the new characters is the villain, Krall. Now, for the majority of the movie, this guy is just a run-of-the-mill villain, no motivation. But in the third act, something gets revealed about him, and it's all his motivation, that almost makes your spine tingle. It's really interesting and kind of creepy, actually. And whenever a villain can make me do that, like, whenever I actually get like, oh, that's weird, that's when you know you've made a good villain. Krall definitely goes into that category. The action scenes in this movie are way better than the previous ones. Justin Lin really knows how to direct action, and he proved that with his Fast and the Furious movies, and he just solidified it that he can do it in any medium at this point. This movie is great, not only just a sci-fi movie, but as an action movie. And now, the only problem that I have with this movie, it's only one shot in the whole movie, but it's kind of funny. It's when Kirk is riding a motorbike, and it looks like it was made in like some Photoshop animator. It looks so fake. But it's only on the screen for like 3 seconds, so I'm not gonna take much off for that. I'm going to give Star Trek Beyond a 10 out of 10. I'm betting you didn't expect that, and I didn't expect it either going in, but this movie is really good. Definitely one of the best of the year. I'm going to review Jason Bourne next week. Peace.